So here's the helpful advice of how to succeed even when you fail. Sounds like a paradox, but it's not. Take, for example, Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the year for Jewish people. It is a day of atonement, when people's personal repentance and the public service performed by Kohen Gadol, high priest, ensures our forgiveness. Talmud tells us that in addition to all the preparations for this holy day, Kohen Gadol had also to prepare for himself a second wife. Just in case the first one dies during Yom Kippur service, and the Kohen Gadol cannot achieve atonement for himself and for Jewish people if he is not married. Sorry. So by telling us this story, Torah tells us the important lesson of having Plan B. Plan B. You might ask two questions regarding this law. First, why only on Yom Kippur? What if Kohen Gadol's wife dies during the year while he is performing a daily service to atone Jewish people? And question number two, what if the second wife dies too? Shouldn't he prepare for himself the third and the fourth and so on? So Talmud explains, we prepare for Plan B when there's a reasonable doubt that Plan A might fail. And the reasonable part is proportional to the importance of the goal. More important the goal, more reasonable becomes even the slightest chance of failure. So, during the year, when the service of Kohen Gadol is not as crucial for the well-being of Jewish people, because sins accumulated in just one day are not so great. Kohen Gadol does a service every single day. So the death of a wife is considered very unlikely. But on Yom Kippur, when, as we know, books of life and death are open, even a smallest chance is considered as likely or reasonable. But the chance of a second wife dying on that day, even for Yom Kippur, is considered unreasonable. But this video is not about Yom Kippur. This video about Lag BaOmer. What is Lag BaOmer? Lag BaOmer is a Jewish holiday. It is always celebrated on the 33rd day after Pesach, Passover. And here's the story. Rabbi Akiva, a great sage who lived and witnessed the destruction of the Second Temple, took upon himself the responsibility to ensure the survival of the Torah with all its commentaries, an enormous task. As a result, he taught 24,000 students just for this goal, to preserve and to transfer the Torah to next generation. Enormous task. And what happened? History tells us that after Pesach, the epidemic, not pandemic, not COVID, epidemic broke up. And in 32 days, it took the lives of all 24,000 students. Can you imagine? Rabbi Akiva's plan crumbled in front of his eyes during 32 days until the 33rd day when there was no one left to die. So why are we happy? What are we celebrating on the 33rd day? Because no one died on this day? They stopped dying because there was no one left to die. How likely is it for a teacher to have his 24,000 students die within a month? Not likely at all. Not likely for me and for you, but not for Rabbi Akiva. Not for Rabbi Akiva, who understood the paramount importance of his goal to preserve the Torah, despite the destruction and consequent exile. Even such remote possibility for him was considered reasonable. And when it did happen next day, on the 33rd, Rabbi Akiva had his plan B. Rabbi Akiva called his 5 new students, whom he again taught the entire Torah, Mishnah, Kabbalah, all the commentaries, and so on. These 5 students were Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Rabbi Yossi. We are rejoicing not because 24,000 students die. But because on the 33rd day after they all died, Rabbi Akiva enacted his plan B. All the Torah that we have today is because of Rabbi Akiva's plan B. When we plan to achieve something, there's always a chance of failure. It is a good idea to ask yourself, how likely for my plan to succeed? Is there a reasonable doubt that my plan will fail? And if so, do I have plan B? If you have plan B, you will succeed even when you fail. Happy Lag BaOmer.